You know, when you start, like you're friendly with everyone and everyone is friendly with you. And once you step that ladder, you started to, and people start to come on you. Oh, this guy got lucky, he did this, or he was supported, he did this. So they will never give you credit that you came from nothing and you built it. There is always some stupid excuses they say to justify their failure.
Thank you all for tuning in. I just want to give a big shout out to our amazing sponsors, Jawala, who have sponsored all of our Dubai episodes. As most of you will know, Jawala is a huge brand that's taken over the UK with over 47 branches and growing. Not only have they recently launched in Canada, but I'm proud to announce that Jawala will also be launching in the beautiful city of Dubai in February 2022 in the brand new Dubai Hills Mall. Be sure to follow their journey across the social media platforms. All the details will be in the description below. Get ready to take a sip of the East.
Welcome to another episode of Recipe to Success Dubai Edition. Today I'm joined by someone who I've been wanting to sit down for with a while. So without further ado, let's go straight into it. AJ, how you doing?
Good, great. Thanks a lot for
Thank
having
you
me.
for having me. Honestly, we originally planned to do this in February.
Yeah.
But then lockdown happened and it's just been chaos. But I'm glad we could finally make it, even though you're traveling very soon. Let's start with introduction. For anyone that doesn't know who you are. Let the kind of people know what you do and who you are.
How many hours we have?
We have as long as you want.
So basically, let me just try to summarize it. I have co-founded around 5-6 companies in Dubai that we help. We have a brokerage company and we have all of the real estate services around it, like property management, holiday homes business. We have finance company, interior designer, fit-ins, fit-outs, and we've been awarded from all of the developers in Dubai for the past 7 years as the top agencies when it comes to the sales. That's what I do on a business side. On a personal side, I'm an author. I just finished my book, and thank God it's like a #1 on Amazon. I do have a podcast myself. It's called Dubai Stars. Not trying to make any ads.
Be sure to check it out, definitely.
Yeah. And I do lots of filming and content related to entrepreneurship and real estate brokerage as well.
How do you find the time to run so many businesses, do content, travel?
You know, it's like I work 80 hours a day, so I have time.
You know, that was when I first came across your Instagram. That was the one thing that I really took from it, was that you were really talking about hustle, hard work, and that you worked so hard to get here as well. So I would like to kind of go into the story, because I think it's going to be very valuable for the audience. How did it all start?
Sure. Before we jump to this, when I told you I work 80 hours a day, you didn't
Oh,
make
80
it.
hours
Yeah.
a day. Okay.
So in 80 hours a day, by that I mean I have like another 10 people in my back helping me to work, all of us 8 hours, all of us. How that all started, actually, I think it's fate, it's God, I don't know what you want to call it, but it was extremely unplanned. I came to Dubai October 23rd, 2014. I came to stay a week as a vacation. I didn't have this much cash on me, maybe like few $1,000s. I came here, I remember like the first time I stepped to Sheikh Zayed Road, it was around midnight.
Where did you come from originally?
I was in Lebanon, my resident. Before that I was in California, so went to Lebanon and came here. I remember once I stepped in Sheikh Zayed Road, I was like extremely fascinated. I'm like, man, that's crazy, you know, like I should live here. So started applying to real estate companies, and it wasn't hard to get the job, but it was extremely complicated because the real estate background that I had didn't work in here. It was totally different, so you have to learn everything from scratch, and as you know, like Dubai is a very expensive city, so if you're not really backed with cash, it was very tough. But anyway, I had the calling, like I should stay in Dubai, I should create my career in here, and I went all in, and that's where everything went terribly.
So you came originally for a week.
Yeah.
At what point did you realistically say, you know what, there's no going back?
First day.
Seriously?
Once I left the airport and I reached Sheikh Zayed Road and I saw the buildings and how clean the city was and everything, I'm like, this is my place.
And then fast forward, then obviously you kind of were applying to jobs. What happened next?
So I was applying for real estate companies. Everyone gave me the interview. Everyone likes the character. They were like, yeah, you can be a good fit to the company. You can start, But the issue in here is like when you work in a brokerage, you don't have any fixed salary. Actually, you don't have anything. All what they give you is a visa and a SIM card and just like...
Time to sell.
Yeah, do your best. You know what I mean? So for me, it was very tough because when I used to be in real estate, we used to work in meters. It wasn't square feet. Everything was different. You know what I mean? Even the people's mentality. You've seen Dubai, like the diversity in the city. Like there is over 200 nationalities. So you cannot speak to Europeans the same way you're speaking to Asians or to Arabs. So it was very weird. It took me like almost 3 months to close my first deal. Before that, I was totally broke. I remember I had days where I couldn't afford food, and I had like using the public transportation, the metros. Sometimes I couldn't afford it. I used to walk like 7 kilometers to reach a viewing.
Wow.
And sometimes these people never showed up to the viewing. They didn't even bother to call you and cancel, So it was very tough in the beginning. It was like a living hell. Let's put it this way. Later on, after 3 months, I did like my first rental. It was peanuts, like maybe $500-600, but it got me on my feet. I could afford the taxi. I can buy something else than a cheese sandwich, So it was
the first year was the toughest, I'm guessing.
No, first 3 months.
First 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember them now with a smile, but I wasn't smiling back then. That was terrible, yeah.
So how did you stay hungry and motivated in that time where you didn't have money for food?
Staying hungry wasn't an issue.
Oh yeah, of course, I no food.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, when I came here, like, I took a decision. I'm like, okay, I love this place. I feel I can make it, and there is no way turning around. I don't want to go back to the States. I don't want to go to Lebanon. I have to make it. So when I reached a point where I didn't have anything left, I still remember I had an iPhone 5C. But I went to a place and he bought it for $100. That was 360 dirhams. So I put it like a budget for myself. I'm like, this 10 dirhams you spend a day. 5 will go for the cheese sandwich and another 5 for the metro. Make it. And on the 27th day, I did that deal, which was a leasing with another agency where they break the commissions into 6 pieces. You will end up with $500. But that $500, I stood on my feet. I'm like, I got a booster. Then I kept pushing more and more until it started happening. I did lots of stuff where I really was obsessed at the job. I'm like, this is a survival mode. It's not even, you have to survive.
And at what point did you then decide to start your own businesses and take that leap?
Actually, I passed few years before I started any business or any investment into the property, because first, it's like I've been living for 30 years, totally different. So I've never thought of tomorrow. It's live day by day, spend whatever you want, God will provide. So every mistake I've done in the past, I'm not going back there. So first of all, I said, okay, first you need to get the money, you need to get yourself a property, a car, then you get yourself all of the clothes needed for the job. And then after that, you make an investment, and once you have everything settled, you start looking for businesses. Why I started the businesses, it's because I tried using multiple companies that offered the same service, and I hated the service. So I'm like, instead of me whining and saying, oh, they have a shit service, let me do a better service. So that's how the idea started. And it's because it's related to my business. It wasn't really hard to grab the clients because we're already we're there. So
you
and
did
that's,
the hard work.
Yeah, so that's why it started elevated step by step, bit by bit, to
Wow.
where we are today.
Wow. And in 2014, I'm guessing it was very different to how it is now. There's always developments being built.
Actually, when I came, it was everything was going down. So I came even in a terrible timing, but there is no way you will not fall in love with Dubai. No matter any year you came here, you will fall in love with the city.
Was your passion always real estate?
It was never. I didn't even know it was my passion.
You just knew that it was a way to make a lot of money, potentially.
Once I came here, I felt a very good feeling, that's the place. And that was right.
And so you came for a week, you never looked back, you did all the hard work, you struggled, and you built your dream. So now fast forward, do you ever think about how it happened? I mean, like you said at the beginning, that I don't know if it's fate or God, or do you think that element of luck is needed in business?
It's a mix of everything. I really don't use the word luck because I feel like we can make our own luck by us being prepared and in the right place and the right moment. If you combine all of this, you can call it luck, but you have to do the work yourself. So let me give you the example. So when I came here, I didn't even have any friends. I didn't know anyone. So I started getting to know people bit by bit. And I remember this group of guys that I met, very fun guys, same mentality, Lebanese, partying all the time, like going all in. So all of these guys were like traveling every 5 to 6 weeks somewhere. But how did they were getting the money? On personal loans, on credit cards. They spent over $80,000, blew it like that. And until date, they're still paying the installment. So I didn't do that. I was staying at home, and then I'm like getting obsessed and what I'm trying to do. So it's like I wasn't traveling physically, I was traveling by reading books, and I'm like growing my mind. So it's like growing that muscle, you know what I mean? So I lived differently to reach where I am today. So that's why it's like I don't really call it luck. I really worked, honestly speaking, over 16 hours a day myself. Forget all of the employees. Myself, I was working more than 16 days, no days off. Like in here, Friday is an official day off. It's not in Europe. So I was trying to close over there and in the States and then in Canada. When it's here, let's say 8 to 9 p.m. where it's wrong to call someone, in Europe it's not. So I was calling there, you know what I mean? I have never stopped working.
I personally feel that there may sometimes be an element of luck or fate or God, but the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Exactly.
And when you work hard, good things come. But considering, all of that and the hard work that you put in, it was a very bold move to just stay here. So obviously our audience is majority in the UK, and people talk about it all the time. They want to move to Dubai, myself included. We're in the process of moving the business to our second office in Dubai. But it's a step that it takes a lot of courage. So for anyone that is, maybe they have that thought, but then they kind of stop themselves or they hold themselves back, what would you say for them to take action?
I mean, the most poison place to be is your comfort zone. And it's funny you said that. Like, it's been, let's say, since September, I've been meeting Brits, and they're telling me, like, we used to listen to your podcast in the UK, driving to our job in the rain. And that's what motivated us to come to Dubai. And we're finally here and we met you. And I'm like, first of all, I am honored that I have this reach and I'm doing this impact without me knowing. And I have lots of cases, even lots of guests that they were living in the UK and they were really unhappy. And they took that leap of faith and they just threw themselves in here and they made it. And that's funny also because where I come from, how we teach kids how to swim, they just throw you in the water. It's like float or die. So you have to take that. Okay, you can stay back home where you have your home, you have your parents, but you will be very limited because if your entourage doesn't really force you or push you to become a better person, if everything is okay because my friends are like that, I'm like them, you will never grow. So you have to leave. Like, you're not a tree end of the day, you have feet, so do it.
And this is probably international, but I know from my experience in the UK, I think what tends to happen is people kind of, they just feel like, they feel that the UK can be a difficult place to live sometimes, and they get caught up in that rat race, the corporate life and 9 to 5 and all of that kind of stuff. But the quality of life is sometimes, compared to Dubai, it's not the same. But they still don't take that leap, and on top of that, maybe they don't have that support from their family. But for me personally, I just think that you will never know until you try, and without that element of trying, like for example, for me it was a big thing to say, I wanna come to Dubai. I had the same thing when I came to Dubai for the first time in 2018. I just fell in love with the city, and straight away I was just like, okay, I'm still young, my business is very new, but I have a vision. One day I'm gonna be here, because I just felt that the air is different in Dubai. And yes, you may fail, and yes, you may even go back and it may not work out, but you'll never know unless you try.
You have to fail to find the right formula. It's like you have to fail. If you don't fail, it means like you're gonna fail later on. So better to fail in early stages, of course.
So let's say you've decided to now take that leap of faith. You're living in the UK or anywhere in the world. You've decided to move to the beautiful city of Dubai. How does it work with the property market, and how can anyone, because in the UK obviously it's majority based on mortgages when you're buying a property or you rent. How does it work in Dubai if I wanted to just pick up and move to Dubai from your perspective of dealing with Brits?
Like how to jump in the real estate market as a broker, or how to invest?
No, so how to actually invest, whether that is an investment, whether that is just for living purposes, just getting a property.
Okay, first of all, coming to the question, like the people from the UK are in the top 10 investors in Dubai. They love it for multiple reasons. Obviously, the first reason is avoiding taxes. So, yeah, buying a property in Dubai, it's seriously a piece of cake. All what you need to do is your passport copy and to sign. And now we have even e-signatures. You don't even have to print, sign, and send back, scan and send back. So there is multiple stuff. You can buy directly from a developer. So the developer has a product which is on off-plan, under construction, where you can be paying on milestones depending on this one. Sometimes it's 3 years or 5 years. They do have also another model where they will tell you pay us a chunk, let's say 40 or 50% until this property is ready, and the remaining 50% on 3 years post handover after you move into the property. You can buy full cash using your own money, or you can pay 50% and we can get you a mortgage from UAE for the remaining 50%. Even though that you've never worked in Dubai, it doesn't matter. Once you pay 50%, you show 6 months bank statement, it's enough.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So it's actually a lot simpler than people make it. People create these kind of challenges, but
no, there's nothing. Also, we have a model which recently came up from 2019, which called lease to own. Let's say if you don't have a down payment, you don't have a saving, the same apartment you are in, you pay rent for 10 years, you own it. But if you stop paying rent within this 10 years, you lost all of your money. So there is lots of stuff. You can do joint buyer now, and even joint mortgage. So it's like, just tell me, like, I want to buy a property, I'll find you a solution. Don't worry, this is us. That's what we do.
They'll have to come to you, yeah. They come to the expert. And during lockdown, you worked on the book. So for anyone that hasn't kind of seen that, what is it all about, and what can they gain from the book?
Basically, I've put all of my experience in this book for the past 7 years, all of the tricks, all of the everything that I implemented day-to-day basis to reach where I am today, I've put in this book. It's not only about sales technique, it's about the habits that you have to put in, where you need to sharpen your mind, you need to sharpen your body, you need to sharpen your soul, which I call it the Trinity of success. Once you fix all of these three, you will become a successful person, no matter what you are. And
without giving too much information, because we want them to read the book, what are some of the biggest things that were important for you in terms of mindset, sales? Because I also come from a sales background. I love sales. I think in any business that you do, if you don't have the ability to sell something, you will never be successful, because yes, you can bring the best people in the world, but essentially business, it sells, whether that is selling a service, product, or selling yourself. So from your perspective, being such a successful salesman but also entrepreneur, what were some of the biggest things for you?
Let's go back to the Trinity of success, how I divide it. So first of all, when I say you have to feed your mind, when I say by that, first of all, it's like you have to stop thinking like, why this happened to me, why me, and all of this stuff, and just to acknowledge that where you are today, it's only your fault, and you are the only responsible person to take it from here. So you can stay here, blame your country, blame your parents, blame the weather, blame whatever you want to blame, or you can say, okay, I'm here, I'm going to point B, let me start doing it. So having this attitude, it's a must for you to change. Number two, you really need to help your body by training. And when I say it's like, man, most of us, we wake up in the morning, we don't feel like, oh yeah, I'm up, I want to go to work, you know what I mean? So it's like you have to be doing multiple tasks. For me, I always say, whether you have a gym in your building or not, at least go jogging for half an hour. This half an hour, it will put you in a different zone mentally. Even it's gonna be pumping blood to your brain, so it's like you're gonna feel energetic, you're gonna feel like, yeah, I want to go do something useful, and you will feel better by you accomplishing the first task. Sometimes I tell them, you know what, do your bed, just go back to the gym again, but do something. So yeah, this is very important. And when I talk about the food, it's like we all love junk food, okay, but it's gonna make you feel tired, it's gonna kill your energy. So try as much as possible to fill your day with fruits and vegetables, and whenever you're having that weekend or your cheat day, do whatever you want, you deserve it, reward yourself. And lastly, it's like when I speak about feeding the soul, is like by surrounding yourself with the right people. If all of your friends are losers, you're gonna be a loser eventually. Better to stay alone, better to watch YouTube. There's lots of beautiful content out there. When I started, there was not this many content. Now you see lots of successful people just sharing their experience for free. You don't have to pay anything. So stay away from those whiners, naggers all the time, you know, blaming everything against themselves. Get yourself new friends that they push you to get new ideas, new experiences. They speak about venues, they speak about, I don't know, like real estate, stock market, trading, cryptos, whatever it is, something different. And that's how you will learn how to grow. So grow your mind, your body, and your soul, and eventually you will become successful. There's no way to escape that.
I love that. And I love that you've simplified it.
Yeah.
You know? It's a very simple formula to follow, because a lot of the time we create excuses for ourselves. But when you put it like that, I mean, it's very simple. It's a step-by-step process. I want to go back before Dubai. I want to go back to young Anthony, because obviously the man that you are today, very successful. You've built a life for yourself. You are a courageous man, a risk taker. But how was life in Lebanon? How was your early upbringing? And for me, it's always fascinating to know like the story before it all happened.
It was really amazing, all flowery. No, I'm just actually, I lived like since I was born until I became 8 years old. I was living in a basement because it was the civil war.
Wow.
Yeah, and we used to have a little bit of breaks, maybe every 3 months or 4 months, like for a few days when they have ceasefire. That's it. So we used to go outside and.
Do you still remember some of
Yeah,
it?
man, never forget that shit. Because like all the time it's like I am with 30 families, and all the day you hear like people screaming and crying, especially women. So it gets to you, you know what I mean? So I still remember when we used to go out was to play. Our games was to collect the shells and bring it back, and once your mom see you collecting this, she will beat you up. So that was basically my childhood. And when the war was over, I was 8 years old, and then my parents decided to get to a divorce. So it's like we finished something, we jumped to something else. So my childhood was very weird, to be very honest with you. I kind of like life forced me to level up from a very young age. I still remember like when I was 12, my brother was 4. So we have this gap between us, like 8 years. I used to take care of him, go to school, and that created a kind of rebel inside of me. But I wasn't like hurting people, I was just like hurting myself, but not knowing what to do in life, and just like started like, I don't know, I was driving when I was 14. I was smoking when I was 15. I'm a smoker now, I totally quit, but I'm just telling you like my upbringing was very weird. I used to party when I was 15, lots of alcohol and everything that comes with it. So, and I didn't really find myself and my purpose in life. I always had this internal anger without even knowing what's the reason.
Perhaps because you were trying to escape all of the hardship that you went before.
I have no idea, to be very honest with you, but yeah, my upbringing, it's not something that I want to have for my kids or for anyone. It was very tough. Still, I'm very like blessed to have that experience, because I do believe that it shaped the person that I am today.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of people, I mean, around the world, they follow the cycle, right? if they're average or below average and their parents grew up that way, they get stuck in that cycle, and they never break free, and then generation after generation is the same thing. And then, you know, you have that kind of thought of, yes, you know, you're always going to be better off than someone, but you're always going to be worse off than someone. But that doesn't mean that you don't want to aim for the sky.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you say that 15 you were doing these kind of things, and then after that, like after the 15.
I got to university. I was doing advertising and marketing, and I had my second major and minor psychology. I didn't do it honestly because I'm into psychology, but there was lots of chapters where they explained the human behavior. And I've been a salesperson since I was born, you know. I was sending my parents whatever I want. I was sending everyone, you know. I've been into sales all of my life. So yeah, after that also I finished, graduated, and I started looking for jobs, and I was offered $500 a month. And I'm like, man, that's stupid. Imagine, I've been studying for the past 24 years to be offered $500. Come on. So I tried lots of stuff. I remember I opened a shop. It was like unisex clothes. So I used to fly to Istanbul, buy from there, cargo shipment to Beirut, and do that. So I always made money. The money was never an issue. I used to make a couple of thousands of dollars, but I'm like, life cannot be like that. Like, work every day, go Saturday, party until 6-7 p.m., sleep, wake up 3 p.m., have your barbecue, and then Sunday again the same boring, you know. So I'm like, life must be something. There must be something else, or at least I feel like I am destined to something else. So that's it. So I told my parents, like, I cannot live here anymore. I'm not happy, even though it's a beautiful country if you wanna lose yourself in it, you know what I mean? But yeah, and that's how it happened. So I decided to travel and start discovering the world and who I am.
That's amazing. And now what motivates you? Because obviously at one point it was the hunger, not having anything, getting a cheese sandwich. Now you've obviously built, you know, multiple companies. You're in such a beautiful building every day, motivational. So what kind of drives you now, and what do you feel like is your purpose now?
To be very honest with you, I like to keep growing while I'm doing an impact. Because end of the day, you can make all of the money in the world, but if you're not making someone happy or special or smiling, you're not really doing anything. So yeah, I'd like to give back a lot to the community, no matter where they come from, what they do. I talk to everyone, anyone who texts me. If I don't reply in the same second, at least I reply before I go to bed. And I'm just trying to build like a small empire. Just like in here, I'm doing it in different countries as well, building companies, giving opportunities to people, to young entrepreneurs, even though if you don't come from a very good background or good education, or I don't believe in education. I believe in just like, show me how much you want to put an effort and you will make it. So that's what I've been doing.
I truly believe that, because you know, your work schedule must be crazy, but you still somehow make time to write a book and to kind of make content and podcasting and all of that kind of stuff. So giving back must be very, very important to you deep down.
There is a fulfillment when you give back. It's really like, it's beautiful. I don't know how to describe it, but I enjoy giving more than getting. But before, I used to enjoy getting because I didn't have anything. So now it's like, you need to give back, you know.
This is going to be a bit of a selfish question, but I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from this as well. For me personally, in my experience, success has always been the only kind of thing that I've worked towards. I just knew that I didn't have an option. That was my only option, was to be successful. But then there's multiple other areas of your life, right? Success in a business sense is only one part of your life. And from, you know, speaking to you off air as well, you know, I can kind of see that you've built a life outside of just work, whether that is relationships, family, etc. So how important is those other areas of your life, and how do you balance those other areas of your life? Because I'm still learning.
25% each. Give it 25% each. So God forbid, if you lose any 25%, you still have another 75% running. So you have your time for your loved one, wife, fiance, girlfriend, whatever. You have time for your friends, you have time for your business, and you have time to yourself by yourself. don't ever underestimate like how good it is for you to be by yourself without any distraction, anyone next to you, because that's where you get your, I'm not gonna say calling, but you will get the good flow of ideas where it will be okay, I need to do something else, whatever it is, one business or relationship. And everything that you take, try to give back in the way that you want to be treated. So for example, let's say you're walking down the street, someone hit you, instead of you like coming to them, oh look, you know what I mean, just say like how I want to be treated and treat the person the same. This is my own philosophy. So I treat people the way I want to be treated. I'm extremely transparent and honest, because that's how I want to be treated in the same way. And I always try to listen, absorb, and react. I don't react, even though I might have a bit of a temper, because I have lots going on, but I always I sit by myself, I take this 15 minutes, I think, and then I react to any matter happening. And every problem happening, except of health, there is a solution for it. So find the solution rather than you focusing on the problem or why this happened.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So what does the future look like for you? I'm sure you're always thinking about things that are going on. What's next for you? Because you kind of said that you don't want to stop. You're going to keep going.
Of course, like now it's really crazy what's happening recently for the past year. I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like we're so blessed to be living in this era right now, and we're gonna be envied by the people who will be living in the year of 2050, and they will say, oh, wish we were born in this time. I'm seeing lots of movement happening from the actual world to the metaverse world to the digital world to how everything is heading through crypto and NFTs, which I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving it. I'm stepping into this.
You actually beat me to it, because I was going to ask you, is property the best investment, or is there other investments that you recommend?
To be very honest with you, the properties are the safest investment, but they're not the best investment. But it differs. Listen, in Dubai, you can buy any property, give it to us, we will rent it for you on short-term rental. It's guaranteed you will make 10%. It's amazing. You can make way more money if you're trading, let's say, crypto. You can make 6,000 per day. There's no limit to it. But also you can burn yourself as well. So to become a trader, you have to really be patient. You have limits. You cannot be greedy.
Emotions.
You will burn yourself if you get, and if you lose money and you want to come back with the mentality, I will put more, I will make them, no, you will lose everything. So it takes lots of self-development and research and stuff to do it. What I'm talking about is like now the new NFT world, where I'm seeing everything is moving from an actual item to something digital in the air and its own world, which I'm loving it, and I'm getting into that a lot. And I'm expanding the business from Dubai. We're going international. We have few spots that already we just stepped in, and we're finalizing our deals, like Cyprus, Limassol, Bodrum, Marbella, Spain, and finally it's like Zanzibar Island, which is something really special to my heart. I love that place. It's so simple. There's no complications over there, just sun, white sand, and crystal blue water. So that's what I'm doing recently.
Wow, okay. And for anyone that has now kind of watched this podcast and they've kind of been motivated by your journey, let's say they want to get into the property world from a brokerage point of view, or from that kind of standpoint, what would you recommend? Because you went through that journey yourself in 2021. How can anyone go about it?
It's very easy. Like even in the days when I started, we had to go through a course on Dubai Land Department in Durira. Then we have to do the course is 3 days, full days. Then you have to make the test, and if you get a passing grade of 84%, you will get your license. If not, you fail, and you have to keep redoing it. Now all of this doesn't exist. You speak English, you have a phone, great, congratulations, you have the job. Like it's so easy to be in real estate. It's very hard to make it in real estate. That's the difference. Entering the industry, anyone can be in. Just like how you want to make it, how you want to differentiate yourself from 7,000 agents is who you hang around, the content that you are consuming, and the books you are reading. And everything nowadays is free online. You just need to make some research and you can have it.
Did you have any role models growing up?
Still remember when I was like that phase at home, blocking myself at home and reading books or stuff. So I was cruising on YouTube, and I liked Grant Cardone a lot. It was like he's so aggressive, and I'm like, this is my style. Just like straight away, get the money and make more and more. So yeah, Grant had a massive impact on my life, and I was lucky to meet him in Dubai when he came here for a few days. He had a podcast. I was there. We were only 10 guests around him. So yeah, I met him. We had a nice chat. Very nice guy. Obsessed with work. Look at him. He's 62 and he's still obsessed, and he's just like creating this empire and growing this empire. So yeah, it's someone that I really admire.
Do you think reading is important? Because obviously you've gone through that. A lot of the new generation, they have a very short attention span, and for me personally as well, like sometimes I find it hard to make the time for reading, so I listen to audiobooks. But from your perspective, reading was very important. So how important is it, and what's the kind of tip to making it happen in this world of distractions?
Listen, if I don't read 2 books a month, I feel guilty. I feel like I didn't do what I have to do. I love reading. I cannot do Kindles. I love actually touching the paper
Pages.
and smelling it. And, there's something about it. But that's me. Like now, if you cannot focus on a book, or a book is boring for you, you can get an audiobook. You can listen to a podcast. You can watch a video. It doesn't matter. But you have to feed your mind on a daily basis. It's like food for the mind. Just keep growing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's like I read a book and it's extremely boring. I promise you, it's like, why would I even buy it? But then there will be one sentence in that book that will be like the aha, just like trigger my mind to something to get me another stage, and I can do a company from it or whatever it is. So there is always something. Even meetings with people, like I really hate this sentence when people say, oh, it was such a waste of time. No, definitely there's something you learned. Worst case scenario, you learn that you need to qualify people before meeting them. That's the least lesson you can take. So there is always something about keep feeding your mind.
But also to add to that, in terms of meeting people, I think sometimes people go about it in the wrong approach. Like they meet people with a purpose in their head already of what they want to get from that person, whereas you don't know, like if you go and sit down with that person just in an organic way, something might not happen today, but maybe in 2 years' time, Anthony might call you and say, oh, you know what, I've got this opportunity, and those things you can't plan, but that's the beauty of having genuine relationships. So from your perspective, obviously being in the real estate market, being in Dubai, having moved here by yourself, how important is networking?
This is a chapter in my book. It's called Follow the Cheese, chapter number 9. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Doesn't matter. I even gave an example that I went to an event and I just met a guy that I really didn't give it much importance. Nice guy, we had a nice talk, had a drink, gave him my business card, and then after like 3 weeks or a month, someone called me, that's his cousin, and turned out to be my biggest client. So you never know, just like go meet people, be out there, let people know that this guy, that's what he does for a living, and keep the relationship. It's very easy stuff you can do. Like for example, in here, like most of the time, if you want to buy a property, I have your passport copy, so I know your date of birth. It's like I can just take it, put it on Google as a reminder, and whenever it's there, it will notify me, and I will just like send you a text or pick up the phone, click a video, hey, how's it going, just want to wish you. And that's how people remember you. When I do this sale, it's like I always make sure I send a gift after this sale. It can be an espresso machine.
Amazing.
It can be something, but I promise you, they will always remember you. Whether they want to buy or anyone from their circle want to buy, they will remember this person. And that's where most of them fail. They do the sale and they disappear. So they don't grow a referral network.
Wow, taking notes in my head. Where does your style come from? Your sense of style. I love you're always looking the part.
3-piece suit.
How is it important for you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like when you meet people, they don't know your personality immediately, so your look is like 50% of breaking the ice, and they see who they're talking to, and they take you more seriously.
First impressions.
Yeah, absolutely. Like some people really will be offended if you come in jeans and kickers and stuff. I would love to, but I have to. I enjoy wearing it like that. Yeah, I'm like the legit mafia of real estate.
That's the kind of vibe I get.
Yeah.
So you've obviously built kind of a small empire. I mean, you might call it small. I wouldn't call it small. For you, what were some of the challenges along the way that after you had already made a bit of money? Because I think there's challenges that you have coming from nothing, and then there's challenges that you have every day in business. So off the top of your head, what were some of the challenges you had in building and scaling a big business?
You said it, scaling. Scaling is a major part, and second is an emotional one. So it's like, you know, when you start, like you're friendly with everyone and everyone is friendly with you. And once you step that ladder, you started to, and people start to come on you. Oh, this guy got lucky, he did this, or he was supported, he did this. So they will never give you credit that you came from nothing and you built it. There is always some stupid excuses they say to justify their failure. So when you are there, you don't understand that. It will upset you. It's like, why you guys are doing this? I have supported every one of you. No one ever asked me for a favor. I said no. So why you're doing this? So in order for you to reach the point where you understand that it's nothing personal with you, it's whoever comes on the top will be bashed by people, life will be amazing. But you have to go through this one. So this one, first of all, I was really emotional having that. I didn't understand it, but now I cannot possibly care less. Like whatever I hear about myself, I'm like, correct, what else? You're still broke or you got paid? Okay, you're still broke, great. So I had this to pass it, and scaling the business was a bit annoying because end of the day, less employees, less properties, less responsibility. With everything happening, there will be tons of problems coming, and people don't understand that I cannot be available at 4 a.m. on a Sunday, you know what I mean? I'm sleeping. Like if you call me, I didn't answer you. It's not because I don't want to answer. I'm sleeping. I'm a human end of the day. I'm a person of services. So yeah, I really had to learn, like you don't have to do it all by yourself. Hire the right people, and this will help you elevate. So once you have to do those mistakes and you learn from it, and the rest will be easy.
Being a salesman, you obviously at the beginning of your career and your life, it was down to your ability, it was down to your sales ability, it was down to your motivation, your mindset. Now you obviously run a company with multiple people. How do you then pass that on to them, knowing that they also have their own problems, their own challenges in life, and you know, multiple things going on? How do you then take that control away from yourself and give them that freedom? Is it just multiple training? Is it you show them that you are the success story? What is it that works for you?
No, actually, I ask them some questions that will trigger their mind. So it's like, for example, I just met you. It's like, tell me more about your family. Oh, you have kids. So already you have a motivation. Why are you still whining? You know what I mean? So I just like kind of like remind them that you are here, you are blessed. I come from Lebanon. Look at Iraq, look at Yemen, look at all of the Arab world. Like imagine those people. Look at Afghanistan, man. Like people are waking up not knowing if they will live today or not, you know, hearing bombs and bullets all day. And you live in Dubai. It's like one of the most luxurious and clean city in the world with a beautiful weather, and you are here in this office and you're whining like how tough your life is. Like what should that person say? So just like try to remind them in a very nice way, not bashing them, that you are blessed. Everything that you have is blessed. Count your blessings and see where you are and how much you can achieve. So if those guys were saying life is tough, I do understand. But you have everything. Like what's missing? And you have the motivation. You have kids. You have a mom. You have a dad. You have a brother to support. And there's money all over. Look at this. Look at these buildings, man. Every apartment is money. Just pick it up. Money is there. Go pick it up. It's that easy. How much you want a salary? 100,000, 1 million, 10 million? It's out there. Go just pick it up. That's the way I see. That's the way I think about it, and that's the way I see it. And I would love to give them this idea. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned human psychology at the beginning, because as I've grown older, I kind of, not just in business but in life, I start to realize that life is all about the art of people. Because at the end of the day, whether you want money, whether you want relationships, whether you want whatever in life you want, it's about people. Whether you're selling to those people, whatever it is. So I think it's important to try to understand how people think and what motivates, because not everyone is motivated by money, right? The majority of our audience, yes, they may be motivated by money, but not everyone is motivated by the same things. And when you understand that people are motivated by different things and they operate differently, I think that's when you can really, become a great leader. So from your perspective, what does being a great leader mean? Because you are leading a company every day. People look to you. You know, we were walking around, you were showing me around the office, and people were just, you know, trying to get your attention and see, okay, is he going to pay attention to me? And I think that speaks for itself, because you have this kind of aura when you step into a room.
Yeah.
And you can't really learn that unless you're going through the process. No one can teach you that. So for you, what does being a great leader mean, and how important is that role for you as a CEO?
Like, I don't know how to answer this. You know, it's very tough. It's like when everyone look at you, oh, look how his life is so easy, but not knowing it's like maybe you have one problem, I have 150 problems, but you cannot show them that. You cannot show your personal life or your weakness or anything. You always need to show them that life is good and keep going, and eventually you will reach where you want to be. So I break it down to them very easily. So it's like every person who's feeling down, just like come sit next to me. Why you're here? What's the reason? Like, you can be now working in any mall or in any restaurant or whatever. Why you're here? Why you're into real estate? Oh, I want to make money. Amazing. Write down for me on this paper how much money you want to make. They go, it's like 500,000. Like, that's it. You're here with all of this suffering to make 500. Come on, man, that's peanuts. Give me a better number. Until they reach a number of 5 million, 10 million. I'm like, great. You see this piece of paper? So when you're gonna go home, you're gonna put it somewhere where you see it every morning. Coming back to myself, in the year of 2016, all what I had under my name maybe is like 10,000. So I wrote a check of 5 million from myself to myself, and I've dated it 25th May 1985. And I put it on my closet. Why? Because the days when I wake up and I'm feeling like shit and I don't want to leave home and I hate my life and see this 5 million, I remember why I'm waking up, why I'm getting to shower, why I'm going running, why I'm going to office. So in this way, I try to like give them steps. It's like always you need a reminder. What's your purpose? What's your goal? Draft it down. This year I want to buy a car. Put the picture of that car in front of your desk. So whenever you're making these calls and someone tells you the F you or whatever it is, it's okay. I'm gonna get that car. It's okay. This is an effort I have to put. So you always need a reminder where you are, what you want to do, and that's it.
Do you believe in law of attraction?
Of course, I live on it. Like, I believe
Visualize.
everything it's about attraction. Like, I attracted my life exactly what I wanted to be. Like, if you tell me now, or if you go back to time in 2014 and you tell me, oh, you know what, after 7 years you're gonna have this many companies and this many properties and this many employees, tell you, man, you're high, you're drunk, you must be out of your mind, you know, because I wasn't that person back then. But today, and God forbid, if I lose everything I have, I can do it again. Because I am this person today that will not take any no for an answer. There's always a way to make it.
Wow. You know, growing up, for me, it was money. It was, how do I make this amount of money? But along the way, I kind of realized that you can't chase the money. The money is a byproduct. And when you get to the money, you become a different person, like you said. And you train yourself. And you also mentioned earlier in the podcast about the importance of surroundings. So how important is not just the people around you, but your environment? And what were some of the changes that you made to your personal life that allowed you to excel further? I'll give you an example. So for me, it was getting out of the area that I grew up in, because I just felt that, you know, there were certain things that were holding me back, just being around certain things and certain environments. Maybe going to a different gym, maybe just trying to spend time somewhere else. So what would you kind of say based on that you did yourself as you grew, as you made more money?
Okay. The end result is not the money, it's your freedom. Freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. But when you start, you think it's the paper money, but actually it's the freedom, the result. So let me give you an example. I still remember when I joined the company and I started working, I've never got any lead. Because like once you don't know anything, they will not pass you a lead. So I used to hang around with the new joiners. And new joiners, most of them, they are smokers. They go down and smoke. So I used to be next to them, and whoever come talk to them, hey, how's it going? How's the market? Oh man, the leads are shit. That's all what I heard. So when someone used to come to me, it's like, how's the market? It's like, man, the leads are shit. Even though I've never had a lead. I don't know what a lead is, you know what I mean? But that's what I hear. And then after 3 weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm still with the same people that they keep saying the leads are shit and none has done a deal, where I'm seeing people next to me in the office are making 100,000, 150,000 a month. Like, what the fuck, man? I need to do something. So I stopped staying from those people. It's like, oh, you want to smoke? It's like, no, man, I just had one. Go, enjoy. So this was the first step. And I was started coming. I didn't know people, and I was, believe it or not, I was a bit shy. So I used just like to pretend that I'm on the phone, just to be next to their desk and listen to what they're saying. 90% I didn't understand anything, but I'm like kept doing it, and that's what I decided, that I need to drop all of the bad habits and everything I've been doing all of my life, because all of this, the result that I'm a pure failure, and I need to evolve as a human being. It's like how the worm becomes a butterfly in the end. So this is the cycle. That's how you see it. So bit of time is like, whenever I saw a millionaire, for me, like, this is a god. It's not, those are not humans, they are god. But when I started hanging around them, I'm like, they're just like us. They just put in more effort, and the conversation is different. They never discuss other people, like never. Either they discuss events or ideas. And for me, that was like, okay. So by me staying next to those people, this will lead me to where I am. I stayed next to those people until I outgrew them. And I'm like, okay, they're still talking about small events and small ideas. So
And
I
shit
started so I started hanging around with different people, and this is what I keep doing. It's like I have a beautiful relationship with everyone, whether if you are, let's say, you have a simple job as like cleaning or driving or whatever, or a chairman, cannot possibly care less. I will sit with you and I will give you the same respect. But for me, when I want to do like my brainstorming, there's few people I love to sit with them, because they are also like me, obsessed and getting better and better. So it's not about the money, it's about like the fulfillment that you take from just like having a coffee, discussing a nice idea, taking that idea, making it live to an actual business or service or whatever it is, and seeing it succeed. It's like you're raising a baby out of nowhere, and this baby became a very successful man. So yeah, that's what I'm into, always like evolving as a human being.
So in one word, if you could describe the difference between winners and losers in a material form, would it purely be mindset?
One word: habits. Mindset will come later, it's the habits. If you come to the office from 9 to 6, you will leave here, you will go get a pint, and then you're gonna go home, watch Netflix, have a Burger King, a McDonald's, pass out by 10, you're gonna stay the same person. And you know what's the problem? If you don't feel like that's an issue, if you see like this is normal, you will stay like that for the rest of your life. Man, imagine like you gonna be doing this until you become 64, you retire, you will have your pension, you cannot even open your eyes for 2 hours straight, you have to have a nap all the time. Like, what kind of a life is that? Like, you wanna be actually free when you are young and you can travel and you can explore, not when you're old and you're seeing politics and all of the stuff, right?
And it's sometimes sad when you see old people and they just have so many regrets, like what if I did this, what if I did this. And for me, that was my biggest fear. Like, I never want to get to a point where, you know, I'm 60, 70, you know, if I make it that long, inshallah. But you know, having that regret is something that I just never wanted to experience. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, just being around some old people that have, you know, not achieved what they wanted to achieve, or even just, you know, certain wishes, like I wish I went to that country, or I wish I decided to take that move. And so for me, it was always lessons in elderly people, because, you know, they have obviously gone through life, and then you can see how you want to live your life and what changes you need to make. But I love that, the habits, because it's the daily habits, it's the small changes, the small things that you can do that change your mind, and eventually you become that person that you want to be. Wow, honestly, I could sit here all day. Lovely conversation. So final message, for advice for the young people. I know that's something that's really, really important to you. Any final words that you could just give to our audience, you know, whether that is whether they have nothing and they have this dream of wanting to achieve, or even if they've started and they've taken action, but they just need a bit of motivation. What would your final words of wisdom be?
It's not like motivation. I just want to say few words that they will come along the way. So it's like, first of all, we are all destined to do something big in our lives. Whether we are athletes, we are financial advisors, whatever we are, we should do something big. Don't live the life which is like just like eating, paying your bills. If you're lucky, you will have a vacation for 2 weeks once in a year. You are destined for something bigger. Try to discover your passion. None of us knew the passion until we came into it, so keep practicing, keep trying. We live in a beautiful era where you can reach anyone online. You are simply one message away. Just like send a DM. What's the worst case scenario? They will not reply to you. Anyway, you don't have anything, but try. Put in more the effort, and most importantly, whatever you're doing, if it was easy, everyone would have done it. So believe me, putting in the effort will pay off eventually in the future.
You mentioned that we're in an era where you can message anyone and you can actually fast track your success, but there can also be negatives to social media and the online world. How do you advise for people to not get distracted in that normal kind of battle of scrolling and not actually doing anything about it, and just looking at other people and looking at that and making themselves feel insecure? What would you say for that? Because social media can be a great tool, but it can also be a detriment to a lot of people.
It's not right. I mean, like, listen, if I'm looking at your page and I'm seeing you driving a Lamborghini and a boat with 15 models, if that's my passion, fucking write it on a piece of paper, put those pictures on your desk and work for it. If your goal is just to have, I don't know, a nice house in the suburbs or whatever, that's your motivation. So instead of you looking at them and hating them, take them like, if they can do it, you should even do it better, because they're not smarter than you. They just like know how to follow the right people to reach where they are. So follow the right people. Take everything as a motivation. You are alive, you are healthy. That's all what you need in this life. Tons of people, they have physical issues, mental issues. They don't even have 10% of what you have. So believe me, by you being a normal human being, you have it all. All what you need is just change your mind. You can make it. Go for it.
Love it. And Anthony, it's been a pleasure. For anyone that wants to follow you, learn more from you, we've actually got the book over here. So for anyone that wants to purchase that, be sure to purchase that. What for you would you say is something that they can really gain from this? Because for me, I'm going to go back and read this.
Thanks.
And I know you mentioned that it's the Trinity of success and all of that kind of stuff, but based on the feedback that you've had, what were some of the things that people really benefited from by reading this book? It's also not too much of a big book, which I personally love.
Yeah. I did it this way on purpose. I tell you what, most of the books I read that they pass 200 pages, you will always have 150 pages of examples of people back in the days, what they have done, and 50 pages of the actual content. Mm-hmm. So this one, I made sure it's all proper content, sales content. In this book, my beautiful feedback was about chapter number 4, if I'm not wrong, which is the time management, and chapter 9, which I called follow the cheese. So it's like in our industry and lots of industries, people sit in the office and wait for the lead to come in. And the online lead, end of the day, you never know who's behind the screen and clicking. Sometimes we get some guy who cannot speak English. He liked the video, he just inquired. You know what I mean? So this chapter 9, it will teach you how to go out, and by saying follow the cheese, it's like follow the money. So the money, where is the money? It's in the financial institutions. Go make relationship with those brokers. It's in the luxury cars. Go make relationship with those salespeople. If a guy is dropping few million for a Lambo, he can drop another few million for an apartment. So by that guy knowing that you are an agent and he will make money out of you as a referral fee, he will refer you. Go to Chanel, go to Louis Vuitton, go to Gucci, go for these places and make relationship with those people. And that's how you will be where you can be called lucky person, because that's the right place. So yeah, the book I've been getting lots of amazing feedback, even from people that I've never heard of, and from different countries. That was for me is like wow. That's why now I'm translating it to Arabic, because there is a massive audience in the Arabic world, and hopefully by Feb or March is gonna go to Urdu, where lots of Asians also can be benefiting from this one.
And what's the best place for them to get the book?
Mostly is on Amazon and every other online
book places. Okay. And for anyone that wants to follow you, your Instagram?
You can put all of my credentials, my
It will
Instagram,
be
my
in the
LinkedIn,
description.
my website, and there's anywhere they can reach me. I'm all over
Perfect.
online.
Perfect. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you soon.